today I will show you an easier way to make a single bed cast on like this one. First, make sure the racking handle is in its highest position. Raise the desired number of needles on the front bed and place the edge springs on the last working ones. Now raise the opposite needles on the back bed and place the edge springs on the last working ones. It should look like this. The end needles must be opposite to each other. Use the orange ruler and arrange the needles on both beds in a 1-to-1 division as shown in the video. Then move the edge springs on the last working needles and make sure the latches are closed. Now the needles should look like this. Set both locks to N and the stitch size to 3. Insert the orange strippers and take the main yarn for the garment. Now knit 1 row. You have to be able to see the zigzag row. Set both locks to CX and increase the stitch size to 4. Now knit 2 rows. At this point the knitting should look like this. You can't gather the end of the fabric by pulling the yarn tail in the end, so if you want to gather it later or you just need to weight the fabric, take a strand of the same color yarn and lay it over the stitches. I'm using contrasting color yarn only so you can see it better. After you lay the yarn over the stitches, tie the ends under the bed so you can attach a weight. I don't need a weight, so I will pull them only until I knit the last row of the cast on so the needles don't accidentally catch the yarn. Now set both locks to N and increase the stitch size to the main stitch size for knitting your garment. I will hold the yarn tails under the beds and I will knit the last row of the cast on. At this point the cast on is done, so you can reset the row counter. Remove the orange strippers and insert the black ones. I will continue to knit on the front bed, so I will set the back lock to GX. Set the front lock to GX if you want to continue knitting on the back bed instead. Now you have to transfer the stitches. Transfer them to the back bed if you are going to continue knitting on the back bed, or transfer them to the empty needles on the front bed if you will knit using the front bed of the machine. I set the back lock to GX, so I have to transfer the stitches to the front bed and knit using the front bed needles. Please don't forget to support me by liking the video and leaving me a comment below. After you transfer the stitches, put the empty needles out of working position. Also, you may very gently tap on the feet of the working ones. Rotate the racking handle to its lowest position and knit until you reach the desired length of the garment. For the demonstration, I knitted a total of 100 rows. Don't forget to take out the weight before removing the piece from the machine. This is what the cast on will look like with the contrasting yarn tail. It won't be visible if it's the same color as the main yarn, and you only need it if you are planning to weight down the fabric while knitting or gather the end. If you use contrasting color yarn, sometimes there will be some leftover lint that will be hard to remove after you pull out the yarn tail. Now you can see what the cast on looks like without the additional yarn tail. I like this way of casting on very much, and since the stitches can't be gathered by pulling the yarn tail, I think this will result in a much sturdier cast on. Tell me which cast on method is your favorite one. That's all for today. Have a nice day and see you in my next video.